that's about as obvious as it's going to be. Well, actually, there's one in the file cabinet that is definitely a giveaway too. And I pulled away from that, and maybe it's a place to back up.
So are the titles becoming more cryptic then as you work?
Actually, they've become less in a way, and the titles are hard. They're hard because it's, you got to think about it. You got to think about it. It's not just I'm going to go and just wiggle my camera around. It's not. There's a whole bunch of things involved, right? It's okay. What is this? What is it to you? And I had a lot of thinking to do when I did Mr. Ford's Revolution. I thought, what is this? This is beautiful stuff, and I know what the objects are, and you have to think about that. What is that? Oh, and it took kind of, I would say, 3 months to figure out that. Because you have to label it. You have to label it adequately. You can't just stick a label on it, and it's just. Well, isn't that cool? Isn't that I don't know, smart or quick or whatever, or there's something. Those titles do have something to do with it for sure, and you want it to be more than just a smart ass label,
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. What lens are you using?
I've been using a D300 Nikon, and I use, sometimes I'll go with the standard, what is it, was it a 1 something, an 80-130 or something like that? Or sometimes a longer zoom lens works pretty nicely for me too. There's things you have to worry about in terms of, you're dragging it quite a bit, so you got to worry about light. I really enjoy working around the house, but that you put it in this container. There's plenty of things. There's plenty of things to work. Your kitchen's a great place, but I like to move it outside. I'd love to get into a junkyard. I'd love to get into like a Wreckers or something. I might do that someday.
What about traveling to other places outside? You seem to always sort of take it.
These were mostly shot, actually some were shot here, actually. Mostly Saskatchewan. Did some in a hotel room. What am I doing in Saskatoon? I'm in room 606, okay. And look at all the lights falling on that, And it's almost like you keep going and you can't help yourself, right? And it's like, there's an hour and a half gone. But you can turn the lights on and continue. If the sun's gone down, but you can still continue. It's good exercise too. It's when I was on the street in Regina in the 90s and. An old camera. It was a 120 camera. It really a nice lens on it, but it wasn't meant to be wound really fast. And I took it into this welding shop and I said, here's a winder off a fishing rod. Would you put it on the top? And when he put it on, it just burnt the top of the camera, but it still opened, and I was able to load the film in there. And I was winding it through, getting these interesting results. And then I thought, how can I do this smoother? So I bought a drill. And I got a friend who was a pretty good guy with building things, and he got something to put over the winder, and I put a drill bit in it and wound it through. Well, I could only do about 5 strips, and then that camera's gone. The gear is just stripped on it, right? So then you look at your pile of old cameras and you think, okay, which one am I going to do next? I love using things like this. You work with what you've got, right? Using those cameras. I mean, obviously, I probably wouldn't have taken a Leica and done that, but I'm using color and I'm using light. That's the stuff we've got to work with. That's readily available, right? That's it. In a nice camera, it'd be interesting to try it, but I think I could do these with something less than a D300. Why not?
Are you tempted to try different formats or even film?
It would be interesting to do.
Just with the learning, I mean, that you had from the process.
I think that would be. it was
You might
so...
spend less money than the rest of us would.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I said when the digital world arrived. It was, okay, this is good. Any more questions?
Right. Sorry. I'm just wondering, like, the process of finding the right printer and the right paper, because that's always sort of exciting when it's like it happens, because it doesn't happen straight away, does it?
No. When I did the city of Regina invited some photographers to document Regina for a year, and I thought, what is that to me? So, of course, I went and did a bunch of blurry photos that I did. I did stuff moving around me, and I don't know if they wanted that. They were happy, and they bought some, and they were quite pleased. And they required that I went to a certain place to have these printed, because they wanted prints that they could stick in their buildings. And then I thought, okay, I want to make some larger one. So, they introduced, what they did is, by doing that, they introduced me to a stock of paper and some inks. They introduced me just to another little world. Because I knew what was available, stuff that I could bring home and print, which is really nice papers, but it wasn't big enough. And I had them print some bigger shots of the street scenes, and okay. So I went back to them and I said, okay, I need this to be stable. Now give me stuff that's stable, and this is what they have. What's important is if you're going to have other people print your stuff, you want someone that you can rely on. Like they really scared me when I had the first show, because they were bought by another company, and I thought, are you still in business? Like, the show is still being printed, and they said, yeah, we're still in business, but don't come down today because we're having a big meeting. And so there's, they tend to scare you a little bit, but if you've got someone that's really good, you're begging them not to quit. Please don't leave. I know they're not paying you enough money, but please don't quit. That's why people hire printers, I guess. They have them as staff, I guess, if you're doing a lot of big work.
Have you been tempted to just do it yourself?
It would be tempting, but I would have to. I'd have to buy a big printer. I find the printing process a little bit daunting, really. It's printing at home. I'm good with an 8x10, but when you go beyond that, those digital printers are, to me, they're very finicky. And I don't know. I'd rather just pay someone to pour ink on something. I don't know. Like, I'll sit down there with Lindsay and I'll say, okay, let's go. I don't want to be in your way, but I want to see what's coming out of the machine. Or if I go to pick it up, oh, wait a minute, there's a line down that, and there's stuff that can go wrong. I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't think they're making huge money on these. They can't be. Really, they're soaking up buckets of ink. So.
I was going to say, you think going through film would be bad pricey, because you can spend a lot of money trying to
get
a good print.
Yeah. But the nice thing is, these print really nicely. There's no. I can auto white balance and get something that's just, oh, wait a minute, it's the same blue. And I think, in some cases, I think there'd be some shifts, but I don't care. I don't care. I'll go into a museum and shoot. There's got to be, in here, this would be fantastic light to do some. And they're visually pleasing, that's for sure.
Yeah, even when you get the glass and frame them.
Yeah, it tends to, yeah. And that's the beauty of having just leave a bunch of white space so you can float them. You don't have to mat them. But matted, they're great too. I mean,